Hello again, everyone. Varel here, Flo out of Portland. Welcome back to our frequently asked question mini series. Are roof inspections only necessary when there is a problem? Of course, you need to get a roof inspection if you see an issue, but you should have annual inspections regardless. We've been preaching this whole damn series. Your maintenance cycles are dependent on the amount of tree cover you have or the building use. And so if the membrane system is relatively new, you're going to find in the fine print that you're responsible for having annual inspections documented by an installer certified by that system. And if you have a good workmanship warranty, you should have 5, 10 plus years on that workmanship warranty. So have the company come back out and do an annual inspection. We do this courtesy for our clients because we understand what you're getting into. And it's a relationship. You want that asset for your asset to continue to protect the floasis. And so for residential folks, we try to carry down some of these good habits from folks in the commercial space because you are also an investor, right? We try to treat our residential people just like engineers, like anyone else that we meet, that you have very great inquisitive questions, you have analytical mindsets, you have risk tolerances, you want to get the best value, the bang for the buck, bang for the buck. and so we want our homeowners to be treated as commercial clients in the way that we understand that you're budget conscious. We understand that you don't want to throw money away. We understand that you're responsible. I'd say maybe 20% of the people that we deal with in residential all have more than one property. Okay. And some folks have an entire portfolio. So we want to maintain a quality relationship by trying to save you money at all possible turns. Okay. How do we do that? We do that through portfolio level full inspections. We want to make sure we can analyze and grade every single system. We can get you done with your tune-ups. We can make sure everything's up to snuff annually, fall before winter sets in, so you can jump on any issues prior, okay? And you're not just taking our word for it, okay? In these inspection reports, you see in pictures that analyze every single penetration, that analyze every aspect of the roof on the steep slope side ventilation detail as well, because we're dealing with systems here. We're not dealing with just a shingle. We're not dealing with just TPO membrane or a metal panel. We want you to understand or get into the mindset that in order for your roof to last, you have to treat it like your vehicle. You're going to be getting additional maintenance quarterly. That's on the HVAC side of things in commercial. That's normal. On the roofing side, you can pull it back a little bit. There's industry standard for what I've been told. Every 5 years, penetrations have to be resealed. It's in the warranty standards that even though you may have like a lifetime UV resistant sealant, etc., you need to have a reseal every 5 years, but your annual inspections are checking all these points. They're doing maintenance on your drains, your through wall scuppers, taking a look at your gutters, making sure that everything is buttoned up. So that way you can catch the issues before they arise. And part of certifying a roof, when you get a warranty from any roofer who didn't do the original roof, you want to say, hey, I want my roof certified. Can you give me a warranty to help make sure that things aren't going to go awry? Then at that point, you are going to potentially be in for some repairs, okay? There's a difference between deferred maintenance and preventative maintenance. Deferred means you put it off, now it's a bigger issue, we got to go fix it in order to be able to start to preventatively maintain that system and get that ROI. You can't prevent issues on an old system that has repairs that need to be done. Does that make sense? You've deferred the issues. You cannot prevent the issues if they're already there. So maintenance is the way to make sure you get the best ROI, residential, commercial, on your roof. How do you tell if you need maintenance or what needs to be done? You have someone out, come take a look, get pictures, diagnose all the other issues, and prescribe all the solutions, so that way you can make sure that your roof is going to last the longest, okay? So for metal, you want to see that bad boy get to 50 plus years, ideally 70 plus. And metal has a lower maintenance requirement, but there's still penetrations on metal that require eyes on, potentially new boots on every 20 or so years. They haven't made very many like silicone pipe boots still. So a lot of them are rubber still on the metal side. And so the rubber, like asphalt, has about a 20 to 30 year life expectancy. The metal may last forever. Hidden fasteners, right? If you're not on the coast and you got all aluminum or zinc, then you're not going to worry about rust. It's all going to be about the penetrations, okay? And so when we see issues on metal, it's always relating to flashing around some sort of penetration. I've never seen a metal issue just pop up in the middle of a field. Even so, exposed fastener is a completely different story. It's going to relate to the fastener. But on the way that that metal's installed for the MS 100, 150, and 200, you never see those fasteners, and so you're going to have a penetration investigation at that point. We're going to be looking inside that system if we can to see what's going on. It's usually pretty obvious, right? So you got some sort of bathroom vent sticking up, you got a color issue, or you got a flashing issue around a skylight or chimney. So butyl tape can go away. It can crack over time if you got a black roof. I'm sure that on the south facing sides, if it gets over to 160, right, maybe they used a cheap underlayment or something. There are components within the metal system that can age prematurely around the panels. Not every metal panel has a sexy Kynar coat, so you may get less of a lifespan out of a system that no one invested in properly from the beginning. If you want the best ROI out of your metal system, just start by getting a qualified installer with the best panel. Don't go metal if you're thinking about going cheap on the metal product. It doesn't make sense. And so marginally, maybe $1 more per square foot, give or take, you get that. It's roughly 25% roughly, but on the material cost, you spend 25% more, but you get double the lifespan. You don't want to have a metal roof paint fade 20 years in and you have to replace it 30, 40 years in, and you're like, now, if you remember, like when you did the roof, probably maybe you and your dad, maybe you and your family did the metal roof back in the day. And yeah, this is my dad's house, and I remember installing it one summer, but I don't know why we didn't get the right ROI. We installed it correctly and never leaked. Maybe you didn't arrest the ventilation properly. Maybe you didn't use a snap Z. Maybe you didn't have that ridge vent. Maybe you didn't do proper bird blocking. Maybe you didn't do high temp underlayment. Maybe you didn't get the right underlayment. There's so many details that can go into a metal roof that make it last. Maybe you didn't hook your eaves. Maybe you didn't do your flashings right. Maybe you didn't hook your valleys or cleat it properly. There's more than meets the eye with metal, like many things in roofing, just because it's a hidden trade. So hidden being that you can't see everything. You don't want to see a fastener in roofing, right? You wanted that thing to be hidden so that way you can protect it from ever having to experience the environment, which is why roofs last. The way they're built as a system is they're water shedding in most cases. Waterproofness comes from the membrane world, but water shedding is everything else in steep slope. So it's how you build the system is why it's waterproof. But in general, shingles and metal at least is a water shedding material. So roofing, we just got off on a tangent there. Roof inspections will allow you to help with a real estate transaction. Okay, you want your buyer to have a good roof, or you want to know if the buyer is getting themselves into a bad roof. You don't want to have, as a seller, a buyer come in and try to haggle you 15, 30 plus K because the roof is questionable. On the other hand, you should expect them to haggle you if you know that the roof isn't on its first half of life. We'll say, I'm going to need a roof in 10 years. I'm going to try to chisel you 10, 20K. Like, wouldn't that takes the fun out of getting the ROI of the real estate transaction. I'll say that if you're in it for less than 4% interest, I'm not a real estate professional or investor or anything, but I would be wondering why we need to get out of this place. Like, why can't we turn it into a rental, just maintain that low, comfy interest rate, and then, have someone else help pay for the roof over time via the renters? I don't know. But a roof inspection in real estate is a great way to justify the investment, the ROI, what you're going to get in, the overhead that's going to be required to get into the property. In the Midwest and the Gulf, East Coast area, you're seeing a big push to go metal again. Metal is the single biggest ROI. And it's got the single biggest investment up front. But if you're a savvy property owner, you're not considering shingles unless you know you're not going to be in that property for more than 10 years. For more than 10 years. Your shingle option is for the folks that know they may not be in the property for longer than 10. Great. It's still going to be about half the cost of a metal roof on the lowest end. We'll get into more metal detail in a different video. This is all about roof inspections. But roof inspections for metal, taking a look at flashings, penetrations, edge details, valleys, etc., maintenance cycles. Do you have any records? On the commercial side, we're looking at whether or not they have maintenance records as well, what that panel type is, checking out the fastener situation, what's the decking look like. Is there any need for a ventilation system? Is it a warehouse or is it a terminal or something? Is it a little more, doesn't need that ventilation at all? Is it structural? Is it just like corrugated? Is it standing seam? Who knows? On the membrane side of things, it's required by the manufacturers. It's best practice to make sure you get annual inspections with the maintenance plan so that way you're not having to prematurely chase down leaks, have targeted repairs. We had a lady sign up for a maintenance plan last week. She has $3,000 in targeted repairs before we can get on the maintenance plan, okay? But she understands that, right? Because we're having this conversation and she understands what she's getting into. It's a relationship where we're trying to give people the best ROI for the system. We're not trying to sell you something you don't need. We want you to enjoy the roof without having to deal with like restoration or replacement costs because they're absurd. It's very seasonal too. You can't do much between October and March on the flat roof side of things. On the steep slope side of things, best practices for the Pacific Northwest, because of all the trees we have, get a roof blow at least once a year. If you got more trees, everyone that lives in a forest understands you're going to have multiple visits. You can get on these maintenance plans as well, so you can have a roof blow taken care of, and we can bundle it so that way it's attractive. Take care of the gutters, do tune-ups, make sure that system is going to be buttoned down, so you can also enjoy the same benefits the commercial clients get with peace of mind in a way that protects you throughout the year, not just once a year. Sometimes you find out, oh, well, once a year wasn't enough, okay, but I just cleaned the gutters, right? In Oregon, things can change pretty quick with weather. So highly suggest annual roof inspections. Generally, September, October is the golden time. The next best time is the late spring. We're talking March and April. So that way you can see, well, did I have any issues through the winter time? Did I have a limb hit and break a shingle? Or, where am I at with the roof? Is now the best time, or when should I look at getting a roof? The best time to ever get a roof in the Northwest throughout the year is, I believe, March through May, and then September, because it's like tapering down, it starts to get a little more mild. The roof is going to cure, so you can have good seals. But the best time to get a roof ever was last year, because you saved 10+% on the material cost, and we know that life's not getting any cheaper. So deferring your replacement is costing you about, depending on the package, it could be anywhere from $500 to like $5,000 on the commercial side. It could be even more. Every year you're waiting is just throwing money out the inflation door, because the materials are generally owned in a monopolistic economy. There's only a handful of players. They're all controlling the price. Asphalt's a lot more volatile than membrane and metal, even because the asphalt is petroleum based, and we all know what's happening in the oil with a lot of the world going crazy. It's best that you would have acted a year ago or 5 years ago. Then, pre-pandemic, everyone was getting deals. Everyone pre-pandemic got a roof is stoked, right? They got the interest rates and they got the roof, right? So they're set. They're set for a while. So we've got one more FAQ for this morning, and then we'll carry on. Can repairs be done in rainy or cold weather? All right, here we go. Ciao.